What it do? What it do? What's up, dudes and dudettes? Ace here. Today we've got another card of the day. Today's card of the day is Tibalt's Trickery, and this one is a mouthful. It's one in a red instant with counter target spell. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then they put the exiled card on the bottom of their library in a random order. So it's a cyclonic rift that can target anything on the stack. Look at that. It's a red counterspell. And I don't know what to think. Like, if you guys know me, I played a lot of mono white. I still do play some mono white, but not I'll definitely pulling it back a little bit. And one of the things I noticed in being mono white was Marrow always saying something like, you know what? Mono white is tertiary to counterspells. Next thing you know, they don't print a white counterspell for like ages. The next person to print a counterspell is in red. Makes you think, is white really tertiary? I know the color probably changes, but geez, where's the white counterspell in standard? I want to see my white counterspells in arena, and I think white counterspells would be preferable to red counterspells because of the less, I guess, chaotic nature of them. Anyways, let's get to the story. Tibalt's Trickery. Is this card good? Is the flavor there? Do we like it? What's the consensus? I think flavor wise, this card is pretty spicy. It definitely describes Tibalt, I guess, in his new ways, and especially in Kaldheim, I suppose, where he's like tricking Valky, which is the god that he takes over, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or assumes position as the god of whatever trickery. I don't know what his position in Kaldheim is exactly. I would say it's definitely flavorful. I like the flavor of the card. It definitely makes you think like, oh, like it's like that sort of thing where like someone pulls out a, I don't know, a bouquet of flowers and then you cast Tibalt's Trickery on it and all of a sudden it's like an elephant. Like that's what this sort of makes me think of. I think it's definitely in line with red, the whole randomness part of it. Sort of shifting your spell into something that's less likely to, assuming you have like a bunch of cards in your deck that do different things. Shifting your spell into something that's less optimal to play at the moment is definitely like a strong effect. And being able to counter something like this in a color that doesn't usually, for the most part, have direct stack interaction, dependable stack interaction is pretty crazy. In the context of like Commander, this card is going in every red deck. You play red, you play Tibalt's Trickery. It's not that hard. It's a protection spell. It's the one of the few protection spells in red that cost 2 mana, and it's essentially like a swords to or a path to exile on the stack. And not being in red, having the ability to, or not being in blue, having the ability to like counter anything is such a huge feat. Like imagine you're playing like Godo and you're about to combo off, and then you have this, and it's like you don't really care what their spell is, if they get like a mana rock or something like that, less optimal, like a rampant growth or something, um, and you protect your combo with that. Like this is crazy. Like I'm someone who's been very optimistic about like using reverberates and like um those sort of effects on the stack to act as counterspells, and instead they just literally printed a counterspell in red. And I think for the most part, like having those reverberate effects or fork type effects in EDH would be good because you essentially get like the ceiling for like a spell you can copy is just so high. Like imagine copying a Torment of Hellfire, you just win, which is crazy. The floor is like you can copy a cantrip or a tutor, right? Where a counterspell is like it's always going to be some sort of like a 1-for-1 removal. Not even 1-for-1 because you're playing against 3 other people. Um, yeah, this is just a strong effect. You definitely play this in your red EDH decks. I don't even know how to more to emphasize that. In standard, it's definitely strong. Of course, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but they have a bunch. I'm by the time you're watching this, it might even be banned. A lot of people have been playing it competitively in MTGO and Arena, where their decks essentially consist of huge spells, and they cast this on like a 0 drop, and it just ramps them into like a Liliana, 6-7 mana Liliana, and then take over the game because you can't destroy a Liliana on turn two. Anyways, tell me what you guys think about this in the comment below. I hate Immersion Ultimatum, and that's what essentially what this is.